Devin Haney will defend the WBC Super Lightweight World Championship against Ryan Garcia on April 20th. And Paulie Malignaggi, this is Paulie TV. That one came out of nowhere, huh, guys? Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, just when you thought it was all but lost, it looked like Ryan Garcia was going in 40 different directions. Haney had told him never to mention his name again. I mean, rightfully so. I thought Ryan was more so clout chasing for a while, just jumping around, naming big names. I think this is a big chance for Ryan to finally legitimize himself, but it's a tough ask, bro. I know these guys had a rivalry in the amateurs. Anybody who wants to correct me in the comments section, I think from what I heard, they were 3-3 against each other in the amateurs. But honestly, I don't know for sure, man. It's just what I heard. If everybody knows better, feel free to reply in the comment section and correct it. So I know there was a pretty good rivalry they had in the amateurs. Obviously, Ryan is not your typical YouTuber. He's a guy who's who actually did box, but is more so angling towards the YouTuber life than the boxer life. And sometimes his commitment to boxing can be questioned. His commitment to getting better, to improving as a fighter can be questioned. His commitment to his desire to get through tough patches in fights can be questioned because he's already living a good life through his YouTuber life, right? So, or through his social media life, whatever you want to call it these days. Anyway, regardless, I think Devin Haney is a fast ascending champion, and really with the susceptible way Teofimo Lopez just looked, and even the fact that Jermaine Ortiz is still I think a big player in the 140-pound division, I think you can make a case here that Haney could start to become the premier 140-pounder in the world, or at least can be looked at as that. He's sort of, if you really look at it, man, it's almost like Teofimo Lopez shot out like a cannon and was beating good fighters, better opposition, beating them more impressively, and he really got your attention. But it seemed like Haney, who came out a little slower and sort of started to develop bit by bit by bit, seems that he's developed into overall now, when obviously the long game is the cream rises to the top at the end. It seems like he's been developed as a more complete fighter at this stage in time, at this point in time, he's gotten the experience, he's raised his level of opposition bit by bit, and I think at the right time, gotten the right kind of opposition at the right time, and it's come to the point where now he's looked really impressive. I mean, his last fight might be the most impressive win of his career in the dominant fashion that he beat Regis Prograis to win the WBC Super Lightweight title. Teofimo Lopez has had performances where you're just in shock and awe at how amazing he looked. And then at times he looks like he's fizzled out, and he did it again against Jermaine Ortiz. So he's so inconsistent that you start to wonder, was this guy's progression maybe rushed a little too fast to where he can't even control the way he's going to look from fight to fight, right? Was the better way to move a fighter up the ladder the way Haney came up? He did it slowly. He actually started fighting early in his career, fights in Tijuana. Very low-level opposition over there. You just pick up wins, and then little by little, he sort of develops into the more notable fighters, and now he's developed into a fighter who is a bona fide world champion in 2 weight classes. So you start to think, Haney has developed into a solid world champion, one of the better champions in the sport. I still thought he came up short against Lomachenko, but Lomachenko, the more you end up looking back at his career, the more favorable it looks. Even when he loses, I mean, it's still to good fighters, it's still questionable. And even the guys he's beaten, were like Jermaine Ortiz, for example. Jermaine Ortiz probably was more impressive in beating. Lomachenko was more impressive in beating Jermaine Ortiz than was Teofimo Lopez. And that's an older Lomachenko himself, right? So I think Lomachenko's career looks better and better too as we go along. But the fact that Haney does have the win, regardless of how you look at it, has the win over him, and then dominates Prograis, you kind of start to see the progression that Haney's made in his career, and he's looked really, really good. And so it brings us to the Ryan Garcia fight, where Ryan Garcia is another guy who I don't know if maybe the right model has been used to kind of bring him up the ladder either. And that's makes maybe so for himself, really, because I don't know if there is a model to bring up a fighter who doesn't prioritize boxing. I really haven't noticed that Ryan Garcia prioritizes boxing. He's got the talent, but he doesn't have the mental makeup, the mental wherewithal to really compete at this level from what I've seen, from what I've noticed of him. And if he keeps doing this, where he's going to step up to this level and come up short, he's going to get a reputation for just being a guy who can get there, but has a lot of followers. He can get there, but he can't win the big one. So he's got to try to really winning one world championship in his career would do so much for his brain, because his brain is already big. But as far as boxing is concerned, he's going to lose a lot of respect if he's not able to win these fights. I just don't know that this is the fight. I just really don't. You know, again, they might have had a great rivalry in the amateurs. Don't quote me on it. Again, like I said, I heard they were 3-3 against each other in the amateurs. Both have a lot of amateur experience, and they might have had this big rivalry in the amateurs, but it just seems like at this point in time, Haney has developed so much more as a fighter, as a professional, as a world-class fighter. And Ryan has, kept the skill set there, the physical skill set there, but mentally he's not matured into a world-class fighter the same way. He's just matured into a world-class social media star, and the two don't go hand in hand necessarily to succeed, We'll see. It's definitely, I tell you what, it's definitely the reason Ryan is able to acquire these big fights. That's for sure. I mean, I don't think Ryan will be nearly as popular within boxing. He just hasn't accomplished anything in boxing to be getting fights against Gervonta Davis and now against Devin Haney for the super lightweight world championship. But Ryan does have real punching power. He can be dangerous. But Haney's the kind of guy, he doesn't give you anything, man. Haney will shut you down with the basics, and he's got so much natural ability and speed and athleticism that he can just keep it basic and beat you. So it's going to be up to Ryan to force Haney to come out of that kind of style. And honestly, Haney, if he senses weakness, he will come forward. He will come forward. He'll come get you too. It's an added wrinkle to Haney's style that I think he's been able to add to his boxing acumen as he's come up into world-class level. So I mean, it's still early, guys. It's hard to predict anything. It's hard to break it down, really. We'll see how the training camps go, and we'll see if when we get to the fight, if it happens. Sometimes injuries happen, sometimes guys pull out or whatnot. But a big announcement: Devin Haney will defend the WBC Super Lightweight World Championship against Ryan Garcia on April the 20th on DAZN pay-per-view. I'm Paulie Malignaggi. This is Paulie TV. Let me get your early picks, guys.